Would you like to open thy presents?
You will love it. We searched for the largest one we could.
So the big question about whether Hocus Pocus 3 is actually happening has finally got some solid answers, and the news is pretty exciting for fans. Bette Midler, who of course plays Winifred Sanderson, mentioned in a recent interview on the guest Hale show that the idea for a third movie is definitely on the table. She described it as something they're approaching very gingerly and very gently, so it's clear they're taking their time with it and trying to get it right. Then, in June 2023, Disney's motion picture president Sean Bailey confirmed that the third film is officially in development. So after all this time, the Sanderson sisters are definitely coming back for more. Looking back, it's wild to think the original Hocus Pocus came out almost 30 years ago. It's one of those classic 90s Disney live-action movies that's super nostalgic for a lot of people. When Hocus Pocus 2 dropped, it picked up the story with the Sanderson sisters back in action, though this time, it was a new trio of teenage girls who ended up lighting the black flame candle and bringing the witches back to life. Cassie, Izzy, and Becca took center stage, and the movie was a hit for both longtime fans and a whole new generation. So now that Hocus Pocus 3 is coming, I've been thinking about what would make the sequel really pop and feel like a proper continuation. One thing I noticed in Hocus Pocus 2 was how a few of the original movie's key characters were completely absent, specifically Max, Danny, and Allison. Max was the young hero in the first movie, played by Omri Katz, and his sister Danny and friend Allison were also big parts of the original story. While it's understandable that the actors have all moved on in their careers, Omri Katz has even retired, I'd love to see those characters make some sort of comeback in Hocus Pocus 3. Both Thora Birch, Danny, and Vanessa Shaw, Allison, are still acting, and it wouldn't be impossible for them to reprise their roles, especially since their characters could now be grown-ups. There are plenty of ways the writers could weave these characters back in. For example, maybe one of them has kids who become friends with Cassie, Izzy, and Becca. Or perhaps they could show up to help the new protagonists deal with the Sanderson sisters again, since they've dealt with them once before. Honestly, even if just one of those characters appeared in the story, it would be enough to make fans happy because they bring so much heart and nostalgia to the franchise. Another thing that really stood out in both Hocus Pocus movies is the musical numbers. The original film has that legendary scene where the Sanderson sisters perform "I Put a Spell on You" at the Halloween party in Salem. That song is such a classic, originally from 1956, but Bette Midler's performance makes it unforgettable. It's impossible not to love seeing her channel that diva energy, and it really sets the tone for the whole movie. Then in Hocus Pocus 2, they didn't disappoint, delivering a whole new musical number with the song "One Way or Another" by Blondie. It was a big, energetic scene where the sisters basically cast a spell over the Halloween carnival crowd, recruiting them to help find the mayor, who's tied to Winifred's old rival, Reverend Trask. That number almost outshone the original, which sets the bar really high for Hocus Pocus 3. So it feels like having a big, show-stopping musical number in the third movie is pretty much guaranteed. The real question is what song they'll choose next. There are a bunch of classic options, maybe something like "Hungry Like the Wolf" by Duran Duran or "Season of the Witch" by Donovan. But personally, I think "Heads Will Roll" by Yeah Yeah Yeahs would be a perfect fit for the Sanderson sisters' vibe. Something dark, edgy, and catchy that suits their wicked style. Speaking of music and witches, I was really excited to see Hannah Waddingham play the witch mother in Hocus Pocus 2. Even though her role was pretty brief, she brought so much presence to the character. Early in the movie, we see the young Sanderson sisters running from an angry mob, and the witch mother shows up in the woods. At first, she seems like a real villain planning to take the souls of innocent girls. But then she notices Winifred's magical talent and decides to give her the spellbook, hoping to train the sisters as her proteges. Waddingham was a fantastic choice for that role, and honestly, I wish she had been in the movie more. Plus, the character still has a lot of mystery around her. It's clear she's hiding something from the Sanderson sisters, and it would be great to explore what her true motives are in Hocus Pocus 3. Maybe she has her own agenda that could shake things up. And if she ended up doing a duel with Bette Midler, well, that would be amazing. Those two singing together would definitely be a highlight. Hocus Pocus discussion is never complete without talking about Binks, the black cat with a boy's spirit trapped inside. Binks is one of the most beloved characters from the original movie, sarcastic, brave, and honestly, the real hero behind a lot of the action. Without him, Max, Danny, and Allison probably wouldn't have been able to save Salem from the Sanderson sisters. Even though Binks was freed at the end of the first movie, I was pretty disappointed not to see him in Hocus Pocus 2. Sure, there was a black cat cameo as a nod to him, but it just wasn't the same without Jason Marsden's voice giving him personality. So it would be fantastic if Hocus Pocus 3 brought Binks back in a bigger way. Fans love him, and his presence would add a lot of charm and humor to the story. Another big mystery that Hocus Pocus 3 could finally clear up is the story behind Winifred's spellbook. This book is a central part of the movies. It's covered in human skin, has a creepy moving eye, and holds all kind of dark magic, including the recipe for the life potion that witches use to steal children's souls. The book has a strong resemblance to the Necronomicon from the Evil Dead series, which makes it even more fascinating. In the first movie, it suggested that Winifred made a deal with the devil to get the book, but Hocus Pocus 2 showed us that the witch mother actually gave the book to young Winifred, and that it's been passed down through generations of witches. Even with this new info, there's still a lot we don't know. Who really wrote the book? Why is it covered in skin? And whose eye is that moving around? Plus, the book seems to be sentient, and Hocus Pocus 2 hinted that maybe it's not completely evil. Maybe someone was cursed into the book, kind of like how Binks was cursed to be a cat. So I'm really hoping that the third movie will dig into these questions and finally give us some answers. The spellbook has a lot of potential for interesting backstory and maybe even new magic rules. One thing that I have to admit bothered me about Hocus Pocus 2 was how they changed Winifred's character. The whole theme of sisterhood was really pushed this time, not just between Cassie, Izzy, and Becca, but also among the Sanderson sisters themselves. Winifred was portrayed as a more motherly, protective figure toward Mary and Sarah, which was a big shift from the first movie. What made the Sanderson sisters so memorable in the original Hocus Pocus was their wickedness and power hunger. Winifred especially was unapologetically selfish and ruthless in her quest to stay young and immortal, no matter who she hurt along the way. In Hocus Pocus 2, they gave her a redemption arc where she sacrifices her sisters with the Magicae Maxima spell and then regrets it, leading to a somewhat bittersweet ending. Honestly, I wasn't satisfied with that conclusion. Even with the alternate ending where the sisters are stuck in purgatory, it didn't quite fix the issue. Winifred's ambition and nasty streak is what made her such a fun and iconic villain in the first movie. By softening her character, they took away some of what made her stand out. For Hocus Pocus 3, I'd love to see Winifred return as the unapologetically fierce Queen of Mean, bringing back the hilarious dynamic with her sisters that made the first movie so charming. Bringing back original characters like Max, Danny, and Allison as adults would connect the new story to the original. A big catchy musical number is essential, as is more of Hannah Waddingham's mysterious witch mother. Binks should definitely come back too. Lastly, exploring the spellbook's origins and Winifred's character arc would make the third film a satisfying, magical continuation for fans. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.